Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are in the right place at the right time. Today is Wednesday and it's 12 noon Central Standard Time. And I am your host, Dr. Ron, for another episode of the Noon Report. I'm here each and every Wednesday at 12 noon to give you commentaries about what's going on in the world from my viewpoint. Nobody else's but mine. And occasionally I get joined by the creator of this network, Mr. Lee Michaels. So he's out in the work world, don't know if he's coming or not. He doesn't give me any warning. Sometimes he just pop up. So before I get started with each and every broadcast, I have to give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. And out of the 30 plus years that we've been traveling together, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to him and his family. Now, the thing about having a mentor, it makes life so much easier to have someone that can help navigate through life and what life has to offer and what directions to go in and what not to go in. I tell you, it makes it invaluable when you have somebody that can help navigate for you. So I just encourage people every time I go live, get a mentor, someone that you can trust to be there with you and for you. And that way you can get a show and shout them out every chance you get. So let's jump right into it. Right out the back, I want to talk about George Santos out of New York. George Santos on yesterday picked up 10 more charges, 10 more charges that the federal government, the Department of Justice, has brought down on the uh, the representative or the congressman out of Long Island, New York. They said he had been fraudulently fraud, taking people's credit card information and creating IDs out of it. I don't know what all that he did with them, but I tell you, that's 10 more charges on top of the 20 that he already had. So now people are saying that he should be expelled from Congress. I remember when they had the State of the Union address and President Biden was there, and some of the members of Congress would not even acknowledge him. They said, "No, I'm not going to speak to you because you shouldn't even be here." And, you know, his whole goal, if you don't remember, was to serve one term so that he can get a retirement pension from being a member of Congress, not to serve the people of his district, not to make sure something good comes back for the people that elected him, but he was a fraud to begin with. And now that McCarthy is not in office to protect him, he's being more exposed for the fraud that he really is. Not that McCarthy could help him, because McCarthy wanted to keep him in office so that he can have the majority vote continuously in the House of Representatives. So now, as the glass house is crumbling, the Republicans are losing on all fronts. Speaking of which, the Republicans also have a problem because once they kicked McCarthy out as the Speaker of the House, they have nobody. They can't bring anything to the floor. They don't have a temporary speaker. They don't have a backup plan. They just kicked him out, voted him out, and now they're sitting there on their thumbs, don't know what to do next. Okay? They haven't called anybody, haven't had a nominating session. They don't know who the next person is going to be. They're tossing names out there. They even tossed Trump name out there, even though Trump has got 99 different charges against him all across the country, they still tossed his name out there to run something. So we're going to let you run the House of Representatives. Come on over and do it. No, that's too close to the checkbook. He do not need to be that close to the checkbook. But Jordan's name was thrown out there as a possible replacement for McCarthy. McCarthy's like, okay, y'all kick me out. I'm not running again. I don't want to be in the office no more. So I'm not doing this no more. And people ask the question, why did not the Democrats vote to keep McCarthy in office? It's real simple. McCarthy called an impeachment question to the floor against Biden, which there is no evidence. There has not been not one shred of evidence to come forth with the impeachment inquiry towards President Biden. But yet he followed the leadership of Donald Trump and told him, you need to impeach the president, because they impeached him 3 times and was successful, except for the fact that the Senate, the House or the Senate didn't have the balls in order to impeach him. But the evidence was there. Even impeached him for the January 6th, which he is now indicted for. So he wants to do to President Biden the exact same thing that they did to him, thinking that it's going to help him in the long run, as he tries to run for president. So McCarthy didn't have the cojones, as they say, in order to lead. In November, they're going to have the same problem that they just had with the government being ready to be shut down. There's no real budget on the floor to be voted for. Now that there is a war and the United States supports Israel in this war, they picked a side. They now want to throw money, guns, weapons to Israel, just like they wanted to throw money, guns, weapons towards Ukraine. So I don't know where all this money is coming from that they say that we don't have. The Republicans, raise hell talking about we don't want to, spend too much money or create bills and debt, but yet they're not taking care of the people of the United States, in which that the whole process is designed to do, to take care of us, the people that they're voting for them, but yet they're going to take our money and send it overseas, send it to Israel, send it to Ukraine. And we've got poverty levels just in Chicago alone as high as 20%. The poverty level in Chicago alone, people that are living below the income poverty level, is at least 20% in the city of Chicago. Now, I read something, Lyndon Johnson declared a war against poverty when he was president. And yet poverty at that point was only 12% in the city of Chicago. Now you fast forward to 2023, we're at 20%, and we still have poor people and no means to help them. We have people coming to Chicago, busload after busload that came from another country, that they're throwing millions and billions of dollars of relief at. And yet the people who live here in all these communities that are hungry, homeless, are not getting any relief. There have been public cry to all of the elected officials to do something for the people in the communities in which you are placing these migrants in. Help the people that are around them. If you're building tents, also help the people around them. so that everybody can share in the prosperity and the growth process. You're spending billions of dollars that we don't have. So you might as well make up some more money and help some more folks. So why are people still living in poverty? When I say people, I mean brown, black, African American, colored, whatever you go by this week. These people are crying out for help, and there's nobody listening or replying to the cry for help. The war has begun in Israel. I know that I mentioned it a little while ago, but the war in Israel, uh, there's no winner on either side of this war. Hamas has thrown rockets and bombs over at Israel and declared war. It's an all-out war now. There's no more negotiating. Hamas has been declared a terrorist organization, which means that the world is now going to seek them out and try to destroy them. But there's not going to be any winners in this war because there's going to be a lot of people to die and suffer. Hamas has kidnapped many people. I think the last count was 150 people have been kidnapped and being held as hostage. There's no winner here. I know people think that, oh yeah, we can wipe out and destroy evil all over the world, but no, there's no winner here. There's not going to be a winner here. So you all that are watching this and keeping close tabs on this, please pay attention. There is no winner. There is no winner. Let me throw this on the screen right here. Jed, glad to see you. Glad you dropped in to check on me. Crumbling infrastructure on top of it. Nobody wins a war. Appreciate the show, Dr. Ron. You are more than welcome. Thank you, sir, for tuning in. Jed has been a fan no matter what we are doing. Jed will pop up. He follows all of us. He follows my brother, Chris Bays, Reggie Miles. He follows all of us. So thank you, Jed, for being a loyal fan no matter what's going on. I talked about Trump a little bit. I want to talk about him some more. The DOJ and the special counsel have discovered the reason why Donald Trump wanted to take those records down to Mar-a-Lago. And they have filed in their brief with the judge the rationale and the reasoning for him wanting to do that. Now, since he has filed the brief, it became public knowledge that Donald Trump has now shared secrets of nuclear submarines and their abilities with a businessman from Australia, a millionaire businessman from Australia became aware of this information directly from Donald Trump. So all that information has been definitely presented to the court so that now we know that Donald Trump actually knew that he was doing wrong when he took that confidential information down to Mar-a-Lago and began to share it. And I'm sure he got paid for some of this information because Donald Trump don't do nothing without getting paid. Now, we all know this. I want to give another shout out. We've got another person, first-time viewer to the show. Thank you, Michael Bart Matthews. He just did a show with me on last night on my Ask Dr. Ron show, a very interesting person. He says, hello, Dr. Ron, Coach Michael Bart, showing support today. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Now, if you don't know about Michael Bart Matthews, you need to go ask somebody and find out, because this gentleman is very powerful. He helps people write books. He's very knowledgeable. He and his wife are financial wizards, And I tell you, I learned a lot about him and his wife on yesterday, because his wife, he supports her 110%. And I tell you, every 5 minutes, he was like, my wife, my wife, my wife. And I'm proud to know him. Thank you, Michael Bart, for tuning in on today. Thank you. Also, Trump, is in the middle of saying that he is the most powerful candidate in the race to be the next president. But the law says, the Constitution says, he's not even eligible to run. So all of his ranting and raving is that the DOJ is after me. The Constitution has clearly stated that Donald Trump cannot run or be president ever again. Now, it's going to be a Supreme Court question, because many states have already opposed this constitutional, invoked it, and said, no, you can't even be on the primary ballot. So eventually, it's going to wind up on the desk of the Supreme Court. And I look forward to seeing how they are going to try and keep this thing from blowing up into a full-fledged civil war, because the red states and the blue states are definitely not going to be satisfied about Donald Trump not being on the ballot. And his time is not their friend. I promise you, time is going to run out before this even is decided by the Supreme Court. I got two more things that are kind of feel good, warm, fuzzy type statements. The first thing I want to talk about is Hughes Van Ellis. In 1921, there was bombs that were dropped on Tulsa, Oklahoma, to destroy the community of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Michael Van Ellis, a person's name you should know, just passed away at 102, was one of the last living members of that community. When we talk about Black Wall Street, we talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma as an example of how wealth was established and created for ourselves in our own community. I hear many people that talk about Black wealth, and then they also have to talk about other communities like Rosewood. Back in the early 1900s, these were places where Blacks got together and were independently taking care of themselves. They had separated themselves, took their money, and circulated in their own communities in order to be able to establish wealth in their communities. Well, of course, the Europeans could not stand that, and they found a reason, made up a reason to attack these communities and destroy them. Well, the name you should remember, the historian, the hero, Hughes Van Ellis, was a last living survivor at 102, passed away on this week. So let's celebrate him for telling the story of what took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, my last thing for the day, UAW is still on strike. Okay, I want you all to support the UAW. Now, many people say that they shouldn't be on strike, but I saw something that was written by State Representative Congresswoman Robin Kelly. She said the one thing that the industry, the automobile industry, should realize is that they cannot continue making wealth without the workers that work with them. And they should support the workers and take care of the workers, because the workers help bring their wealth to them. So without supporting the workers and without creating a comfortable work environment for the workers, they have a right to strike and demand better work conditions, better situations. I remember one of the union representatives said, we can't even afford to buy the cars that we make. They're not paying them enough money. So I support the union. I encourage them. I encourage you to do the same thing. Support the union. They fight for the people for real, not politicians. Politicians don't fight for people for real, but we need to support the union. All right. So if you're interested in establishing a show right here on Street News Now, I want you to go over to streetnewsnow.com, fill out the form. Somebody on the administrative team will get in contact with you and help you develop your show so you can have your show on this network as well. So I encourage you to do so. Don't hesitate. We got plenty of time slots available. Come on over. I also encourage you to subscribe, like, and share. Please subscribe, like, and share. Tell somebody about the network. Tell somebody about the show. Please keep up the good work. Keep coming back. I do this to inform the people because we have to have a place to get real information, not fake information, but real information. Okay. So I appreciate you guys. You be safe. Appreciate you all. You all, I'm going to love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care. Peace.